Hi, this is Professor Salazar. Today I'm going to be showing you a cloud computing service called Linode and how you can use for programming. So I'll be showing you those tools that I have running right now. I'm first going to start by sharing my screen. And there's a website that I like using called Linode. And right now I'm currently logged into it. So you can actually see that I have two Linodes running, which these are just machines that are running in the cloud. If you go over to the marketplace, you can take a look at all of the different types of computers that are in the cloud right now that you can log into, okay? So for example, if I want to create a Linode, all I have to do is click on Create, Linode, pick a Linux distribution. Like for example, I'm going to select Ubuntu 24 long-term support. I'm going to select a region like the closest to me, which is Dallas. And here the plans start pretty high for a dedicated CPU. They start at $36 a month. But I'm going to click on shared. I'm going to go ahead and create one here just so you could see it running. I'm going to select a root password. And down here, I'm going to click on Create Linode. So usually I have to wait a few seconds for this thing to start. It starts in a provisioning state where I have to actually wait for this machine to start up and boot up and be able to remote into it. I have my SSH access right here. So all I'm going to do is copy the SSH command. And when this thing turns green, I'll be able to remote into it. So I'll go ahead and give it another few seconds. Machine in order to remote in, you only need SSH access. Okay, so right now it's running. And since I'm on my Mac right now, I'm going to open up my terminal. If you're on Windows, you might want to use like a PowerShell or a command prompt in order to do this. If you're on a Linux or a Mac, you use terminal. So I'm opening up my terminal and I'm typing in that SSH command, which is SSH space root at my IP address. And it's going to ask me if I want to continue connecting. I'm going to type yes. And now it's asking me for my password. And this is the password that I just set up on it. And now I'm logged in remotely to my virtual machine running in the cloud. All right. So this is how easy you can. So we'll come back to this one in a little bit. I want to go to my my other machine that I have running. So I'm going to do control, or I'm sorry, I'm going to type in exit to exit out. I'm going to exit out of my terminal window. If I open it up again, it's on my Mac now. Okay. I'm going to show you one of my Linodes that I have called Beef. And this can be used for a browser exploitation framework. It can be used to create webhooks, and it can be used to capture someone and be able to specifically capture their browser and be able to manipulate their browser and have their browser doing things on it, okay? So let me kind of show you what I'm talking about here. If I click on Beef US Central, I'm going to copy the SSH access and I'm going to remote into it. Or I may have to type in the command again. But let me go ahead and try typing in the password. And there I am. Now I'm on my Beef computer. So earlier I was in my Ubuntu cloud computer. Now I'm in my Beef cloud computer. And you can tell because the IP addresses are different on both of them. All right. You can also tell because this machine has an app URL that was given to me. If I click on this app URL, this is what it looks like. And I'm not actually going to show you the password in order to log in, but I'm going to stop sharing here just for a minute while I successfully log into this Beef machine. So let me first take a look at my credentials. I'm going to try it again. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at my credentials. And I'm in a file within my in my Beef computer that's actually showing me my password. So what I'm going to do is kind of just copy that down. Then I'm going to exit out so I don't show anyone my password. And then I'll go back and share my screen. And I'll show everyone how I can log into this Beef computer. So let me do that next. Okay. I'm going to type in my really long password and log in. And this is what the Beef application looks like when you first log in. Purposes, because if you don't have authorization to do something, you should not do it, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this link right here that says advanced version. And by the way, I'll go ahead and read it because I know it's kind of small right now. It says, getting started, welcome to Beef. Before being able to fully explore the framework, you will have to hook a browser. To begin with, you can point a browser toward a basic demo page or the advanced version. And it says, if you want to hook any page, for beginners reasons, of course, drag the following bookmarklet link into your browser's bookmark bar, then simply click the shortcut on another page, and it says hook me, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on this advanced version. And you'll see that nothing actually happens on the advanced version, which is okay. it says you should be hooked into beef. Have fun while your browser is working against you, blah, blah, blah. All right. I'm not actually going to show you any more of the control panel because then that'll actually show my computer. So I don't actually want to hook my computer because I don't want anybody out there to be able to see a lot of my stuff in there. So what I'm going to do is stop sharing just for a minute. And I know this can seem frustrating at first, but let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to share again. And I'm back in there. And what I did was it actually caught me. Like there to be hooked on the user's end. So if I click on advanced again, this is what a demo of the Beef website looks like when you've already been hacked. Okay, so I'll give you an example of this. Let's say, for example, the victim clicks on a suspicious looking email and clicks on a link inside that email, and all of a sudden they see this type of page pops up. They might be thinking to themselves, I don't know what this page looks like. It says the butcher, it shows me some pictures of some beef, and I really don't understand this page. The user may have actually just seen this page for a second or less and had it redirected to some real website, right? This website right here is actually capturing your browser. And now, okay. Okay, now that I have it in my text editor, I'm gonna minimize this. And again, I'm gonna stop sharing because again, I don't want to show everybody my IP address. And I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go into my control panel. Back and show you my computer. Now this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Windows computer and I'm actually going to hook that browser and you'll be able to control it from the control panel. So let me do this instead. Now let me go to my Windows 11 computer. Let me open up my browser. If I go to my control panel now, and I click on refresh, that Windows computer pops up under my webhook. And if I click on it, it shows me a lot of information coming from that Windows 11 computer, okay? And if I click on commands, I can start sending commands to that browser. What essentially let's say, for example, the victim is over here in this webhook. If I go back to my control panel, I'm going to go under browser and I'm going to go under hook domains. And I'm going to go under something called, let me see if I can find this. Create alert dialog box. So here under create alert dialog you are currently being monitored by your webcam. Now, this is not actually true. Even though essentially they've been hacked, it's not like I'm controlling their webcam. What I'm doing is I'm just displaying a message to the user's browser. So I'm going to click on execute. And if I go back to the victim's browser, they have a where's this coming from? I have no clue what's going on. I've just been hacked and somebody's monitoring me by my webcam. Well, that's not actually true. This is more just of a trick. This is some way, some type of thing that the user or that the hacker might be doing to trick the user into doing something else, sort of like a social engineering attack. And there's other social engineering attacks within this beef control panel. And I'll show you some more here. I'm going to click OK. And notice how I'm still in the webhook. If I go back to the control panel of beef, I notice that I still have the victim's IP address connected, or should I say hooked. I'm going to perform something here. If I scroll down, I'm going to look for another type of thing that I can do to that victim's browser. So right here under redirect browser rickroll, this will actually convert that webhook into a YouTube video of rickroll. Okay, so let's watch this real quick. And I'm not sure if you can actually hear the video playing, but let's watch the browser's let's watch the browser change into this rickroll video. So I'm going to click execute from the hacker's machine, and on the victim's browser, it redirects over to a YouTube video of this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pause this, but you get the idea, right? Like, I was able to control the victim's browser so that I can display a YouTube video on their browser. Okay. I'm going to go back to the webhook. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to plug it into the victim's browser. All right. So this is the webhook. And if I go into my control panel, all I have to do is refresh and be able to see it right here. If I go to commands, this time I'm going to click on browsers. And there's a lot of things that I can do here. Like there's so many things that I can do to the victim's browser. I could have, for example, plugged in my own YouTube channel to the victim's browser and redirected them to my own YouTube channel. If I scroll down to the very bottom, there's this thing called social engineering. And under social engineering, what I can do is I can click on Google phishing, for example, and I can display to the user a fake Google site or a fake Google login page, similar to how if a user is logging into Gmail, if they actually log into this fake Google website, what the victim's going to see is they're going to plug in their username and password to Gmail, for example. And as soon as they click submit, the browser is going to refresh and it's going to take them to the real Google site. But as soon as they click submit or logged in, I'll be able to see their username and password that they used. Okay, so if I click on submit or execute, I'm going to go back to the browser, the victim's browser, and they see this page that looks like a real Google page. This is not a real Google page. This is a fake site that's been set up with Beef, with the Beef control panel. So let's say, for example, I log into this with my username and password. And by the way, I'm not going to use my real Google username and password here. I'll make one up. I'll type in Salazar as my username. And the password I'll use is capital P, lowercase a, $, W0RD 123 pound as my password. And by the way, that's not my real password, okay? So I'm gonna click on sign in, and as soon as I clicked on sign in, it tells me that the page cannot be reached, right? If I go to my previous tab, it shows me that I'm trying to log on to the Google page, but it actually takes me to the real Google sign-in page. But if I go to my Beef control panel and I click on the command one, it shows me the user's name and password right here. It shows me that the username is Salazar and the password is capital P, lowercase a, $, W0RD 123 pound. Okay. So this is how you can use Beef to perform a penetration test. And with ethical hacking, this is a great tool to learn about, because what you want to teach your users is you don't want somebody to just click on a link if they don't know where it's actually going to go to. A lot of people will click links if they're coming from their email, or if there's a shortcut on somebody's desktop, they're going to click the link, right? Sometimes it's just human curiosity. Like, I'm just curious, I don't want to see where this link goes, let me click on it. A lot of times, if something is too good to be true, don't click on it, right? Like, you might get an email that says, congratulations, you just won $100,000. All you have to do to claim your prize is click this link. Don't click on it, because if it's too good to be true, chances are it's not real, right? It could be somebody pretending to be real. It could be a website that looks real trying to grab your information. As soon as somebody clicks that link, somebody may be sending you a webhook that's able to control your browser like this. All right. And by the way, I'm not going to go through all of these different types of attacks, but there's a lot of things that you can do. Once you're able to hook the browser, you can control it. All right. So that's one way that you can use Beef. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of Beef, and I'm going to show you a programming tool that I've used here on Linode. And this programming tool is under my Linode called VS Server Code. So if I click on it, I'm just going to grab that SSH access, and I can SSH into it, and I can control that machine. Okay, this is not exactly like a penetration test or anything like that. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's not asking me for my password here because I installed multi-factor authentication. Now, if you want to log into my VS Code server, I have to open up my Google Authenticator app and plug in a code that's being randomized like every 30 seconds. So let me go ahead and do this first. And now that I type my verification code correctly, now I'll use my password to log in. And now I'm logged in to my VS Code server that's running on Linode. How do I know that I have a VS Code server? Well, if I do ls, I see that I have a folder called Java in there. And I've been doing some Java programming, right? So you'll see that in a little bit, I have a folder called Java in there. And if you want, I could create another folder called Python. I type in mkdir Python. And if I do ls, I'll see both folders in there, Java and Python. So let me do this. My next step is to click under my networking tab and grab the reverse DNS server the reverse DNS name. I'm going to copy that into my browser. And now I can log into my VS Code server. And this is my VS Code server. And you see that I have a test.java page that I created just to code in Java. Well, what you can also see is this other folder that I created called Python. And I know I don't have a Python file in there, but I'm going to create one in a little bit here. I just wanted to show you that I can run VS Code Server in the cloud and not have to install some application on my local computer. Okay, so there's some benefits to running a VS Code Server in the cloud. And one of the biggest benefits is that I don't have to install an IDE like Visual Studio Code. I don't have to install PyCharm. I don't have to install NetBeans or anything like that, or Eclipse. I can set up a VS Code server in the cloud, and from any machine that's connected to the internet, I can get to this as long as there's a browser. I can use a Chromebook. I can use an iPad. I can even use my phone and pick up this site, log into it, and start coding in it. So that's a really cool thing that you can do with having a VS Code server running in the cloud. And I'm just going to kind of just test this out. I'm going to open up a terminal window, and I'm going to run this Java code. Now, if I'm looking at this Java code for the first time, you might be thinking, what is all this? I have no clue what this Java code is going to do. But what it's going to do is it's going to ask the user to enter a character, and then it's going to display it 10 times. All right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to type in CD Java so that I can go into the correct location. I'm then going to do ls just to see what's inside that folder. And I see that there's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chapter folders in there. There's a test.class and there's a test.java file. I'm going to run this test.java file. So in order to run it, I first have to compile it by typing in javac space test.java. The file is compiled, and now I'm going to run it by typing in java test and hitting enter. And now it asks me to enter a character. I'm going to type a capital S and hit enter. And it displays a capital S 10 times, just like I had said. Okay. So this VS Code server is a really cool thing. Like, I don't have to be tied to one computer to code, right? I can learn about other programming languages, and I don't have to be tied to one computer. I can go to from one computer to the next. I can get on my computer at work. I can get on a computer at school. I can get on a public computer. I can go to my computer at home. All I need is my IP address and my reverse DNS server's name to remote into it and be able to code away here. Now I'll show you something else here. I'm going to my Python folder. And by the way, I'm going to clear this. And within my Python folder, I'm going to create a new file here. And I'm going to call this testpython.py, right? And within this testpython.py, I'm going to type in name equals input. Let me fix this. Give me 1 second here. Name equals input. Enter your name. And then I'm going to type in print. And I'm going to do an F string. And I'm going to type in print hello. And in braces, I'm going to type name. And I'm going to type in comma. My name is Professor Salazar. Okay. So when I run this code, it's going to ask you to enter your name. and it's going to plug in whatever you typed into this sentence that says, hello name, my name is Professor Salazar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to run this code, and I'm going to run. Uh-oh, I don't have a Python extension for this. So let me see what I can do to actually run this. Let's see if I can save it. And let's see, first of all, I'm in the wrong location in my file. So I'm going to do cd ... to go back up one directory. If I do ls, I'm not in my Python folder. So in order to go into my Python folder, I'm going to do cd python. And if I do ls, I'll see that I have a test python.py file in there. I may have to install Python by looking for an extension. And here it is. I'm going to install this extension called Python, MS Python. And it comes with some features like IntelliSense and a few others that I can use. I'm going to click install. And this usually just takes a few seconds. There it is. I'm going to go back to my file explorer, click on my test Python file, and let's see if I can run this now. And I'm going to stop debugging. And I'm going to run it again. And it doesn't like that. It looks like I don't have a Python extension. So I'm going to see what I can add to this to run my file here. So let's see what I can search for. I just want to install Python, so I'm not looking for anything else to run, but let me see if I can add another extension. Here's one called Python Extended. And I'll go back to my file explorer, click on here, and let's see if I can run it now. If it doesn't run, I may have to run it the old-fashioned way by typing in Python and then the name of the file. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. But I just wanted to show you how you can actually code within Python. Let me try typing in Python 3, the name of the file, .py, and it asked me to enter my name. So I'm going to type in Salazar. Actually, I'll type in Professor Salazar. And now it says, hello, Professor Salazar. My name is Professor Salazar. It's, I probably should have used another name. So I'll run this again. And I'll type in that my name is John Doe. And it'll say, hello, John Doe. My name is Professor Salazar. All right. So those are two different types of cloud computers that I have up and running on the Linode server. I have my Beef computer as my browser exploitation framework, and I have my VS Code server where I can do all of my programming in the cloud. All right. And going back to this Beef server that I have up and running, I just want to reiterate this again. You do not want to use Beef to perform some type of a hack on someone's browser for malicious purposes or for monetary purposes. You do not want to use this for anything bad. You want to use it for testing and for learning about how these things work. This is what cybersecurity is all about. It's about learning and it's about protecting, right? So if we learn how we can protect users, then we can all do a better job when it comes to our security. I'm not condoning anybody using Beef, the browser exploitation framework, for anything malicious. Like, you do not want to do anything illegal. This is not a good thing. Do not use this for illegal purposes. If you're going to be using a browser exploitation framework, the best thing is to learn about it and test it out and see how it works so that you can better protect yourself, right? And you can actually teach others how they can protect themselves as well. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And I want to say thank you for everyone for watching my video. and I'll see you again real soon.